In the year 2000, two men walked into Blockbuster's Dallas headquarters with a proposal. They wanted $50 million. They were offering a partnership, maybe a full acquisition. Blockbuster's executives laughed them out of the room. Those two men were Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph. Their company was called Netflix. At the time, it had roughly 300,000 subscribers and was losing money. Blockbuster had 9,000 stores, 60,000 employees, and a near-total monopoly on how America watched movies at home. The laughter was understandable, from a certain angle, from the angle of a company that has never seriously lost before. To understand how Blockbuster died, you have to understand how thoroughly it once dominated. Founded in 1985 in Dallas, Texas by David Cook, Blockbuster was built on a simple insight. Movie rental stores were small, disorganized, and locally owned. Cook believed in scale, systems, and software. He was right. Within 4 years, Blockbuster had grown to over 1,000 locations. By the mid-1990s, a new Blockbuster was reportedly opening somewhere in the world every 17 hours. That is not a typo. In 1994, media giant Viacom acquired Blockbuster for $8.4 billion. $8.4 billion for a video rental chain. The 1990s were a different time. By 1999, Blockbuster was generating roughly $6 billion in annual revenue. It had become so embedded in American culture that the Friday night trip to Blockbuster was essentially a national ritual. Pick a movie, argue with your family about the movie, settle on the wrong movie, every week. And then there were the late fees. Blockbuster charged customers for returning movies past their due date. This was not a minor revenue stream. Late fees were generating an estimated $800 million per year, roughly 16% of the company's total revenue, built entirely on customer frustration. Reed Hastings has said publicly that the idea for Netflix came partly from a $40 late fee he was charged for returning Apollo 13 past its due date. Blockbuster's most dangerous competitor was, in a meaningful sense, created by Blockbuster's own business model. Take a moment with that. Netflix launched in 1997 as a DVD by mail service. No late fees. Flat monthly subscription. You ordered online, the disc arrived in a red envelope, you mailed it back whenever you were done. It was not glamorous. It was also not infuriating. By 2000, Netflix was struggling. The dot-com bubble was bursting, the company was burning cash, and DVDs were still a niche format. This is the context for that Dallas meeting. Netflix needed a partner. Blockbuster had the brand, the customers, and the capital. The pitch was genuinely reasonable. Blockbuster's leadership at that point under CEO John Antioco looked at Netflix's numbers, looked at their own numbers, and concluded the whole thing was a joke. A niche internet company with a funny mailing gimmick. Not a threat. Not worth $50 million. Not worth a serious conversation. This was the turning point. Not the only one, there would be others, but this was the moment the door closed. Blockbuster chose certainty over curiosity. It chose the business model it knew over the business model that was coming. To be fair to Antioco, and we will be briefly fair, he did eventually see the threat. By 2004, he launched Blockbuster Online, a direct Netflix competitor, complete with a no late fees policy. It was a serious effort. It was also 4 years late. Blockbuster Online actually gained ground. By some estimates, the service was adding subscribers fast enough to genuinely threaten Netflix's momentum. In 2005, Netflix's own internal documents reportedly acknowledged that Blockbuster Online was its most dangerous competitor. For one brief window, Blockbuster was actually fighting back. Then the board intervened. Blockbuster's investors, led by activist shareholder Carl Icahn, were furious about the cost of the no late fees campaign, reportedly $400 million in lost revenue and transition costs. They forced Antioco out. In 2007, they brought in a new CEO, Jim Keyes, the former head of 7-Eleven, a convenience store chain. Keyes wasted little time making his perspective clear. In a 2008 interview, he said, and this is a direct quote, "I've been frankly confused by this fascination that everybody has with Netflix." He said he didn't see Netflix as a threat. He said Blockbuster's real competition was Walmart and Target. He was named to several prominent business leadership lists around this time. Remember that. Under Keyes, Blockbuster gutted the online operation. They scaled back investments in digital. They refocused on the stores, the physical, expensive, late-fee-dependent stores, at precisely the moment when streaming was beginning to make the concept of a physical video rental store feel like a historical artifact. Netflix launched its streaming service in 2007. It was initially a secondary feature, a bonus for DVD subscribers. Within 3 years, it would become the entire product. Within 5 years, it would have more subscribers than any cable network in America. Meanwhile, Blockbuster's debt load, inherited partly from the Viacom acquisition and compounded by years of expensive real estate commitments, was crushing the company. By 2009, Blockbuster had accumulated over $900 million in debt. The stores that had once been its greatest strength were now anchors. In September 2010, Blockbuster filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The company that had once been valued at $8.4 billion filed with an estimated $1 billion in total debt and assets that were rapidly becoming worthless. 60,000 jobs, 9,000 stores, gone. In 2011, Dish Network acquired what remained of Blockbuster for approximately $320 million, a fraction of what Viacom had paid 17 years earlier. Most of the remaining stores closed within 2 years. Today, there is one Blockbuster left on Earth. It is in Bend, Oregon. It has become a tourist attraction, a monument, a cautionary tale you can visit. Netflix, the company Blockbuster laughed out of a Dallas boardroom for $50 million, is today worth an estimated $280 billion. It has over 260 million subscribers in more than 190 countries. It won Academy Awards. It reshaped how the entire entertainment industry operates. So what is the lesson? It isn't simply adapt or die. That's a bumper sticker, not an insight. The real lesson is this. Blockbuster didn't fail because it missed streaming. It failed because its most profitable feature, the one generating $800 million a year, was built on making customers angry. And when a competitor arrived whose entire identity was the absence of that anger, Blockbuster's executives defended the late fee instead of understanding what it meant. When your revenue model depends on customer pain, you are not building a business. You are building a countdown clock. Blockbuster heard it ticking in that Dallas meeting room. They chose not to listen. Next time, the inside story of how Kodak invented the digital camera in 1975, buried it for 2 decades to protect its film business, and then watched digital cameras kill the company anyway. Subscribe for more hidden empires.